What's up, Internet? Kid Yuki here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Prologue Phase 7 from Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, this video is going to be in 4 parts, and there are timestamp tags down in the description, so you can jump straight to whatever you want. Part 1 is going to be a brief introduction on the song. Part 2 is going to be a quicker, more generalized tutorial on the rhythm part, really just focusing on the chords. Part 3 is going to be a slower, more in-depth tutorial on the rhythm part, slowing things down a bit for the lower level guitarists, but also getting into some of the minutiae of like specific fingerings for different chords, and the strumming and finger picking for different parts. And then part 4 is going to be a tutorial on the lead part, which should be a fairly straightforward picked part. And that should do it, so let's get started. So those of you who have been playing the game are probably already aware of the fact that in Animal Crossing New Horizons, from the time you start the game until your resident services building opens, anytime you're on your island, you hear the prologue song, which you hear in sort of different versions as you progress. As you hit different milestones, the song changes a little bit. Sometimes the chords change very slightly. Sometimes the percussion is a little bit different. And Phase 7 is the last iteration of this. It's a bit more of a powerful rhythm. It's not quite as laid back, although it's all pretty laid back and jazzy. But the rhythm is just a little bit more in your face, I guess. And really the only reason I chose to do a tutorial on Phase 7 as opposed to any of the other ones is because I did a cover of this song a couple weeks ago, which you can check out if you want. And so I already know that one. And if you want to learn any of the other phases, this tutorial will serve as a good jumping off point. Quick word of caution, this song isn't particularly technical, like you don't need to know any crazy picking patterns. The rhythms are fairly straightforward, but if you're a newer guitarist and you don't know a whole lot of chords yet, some of the voicings and fingerings in here are pretty jazzy and a little bit out there. So if you don't recognize any of the chords, if you're having a hard time contorting your fingers into the different shapes, don't worry about it, just take it slowly and you'll get through it and it'll be fine. So again, this is going to be more general. You can think of it as sort of an overview, kind of breezing through the chords. If you really just want the straight chords, I'll have them linked down below in the description, so you can just read them up there. But yeah, as a general rule in this song, I'm going to be using my fingers for the rhythm part. For most chords, I'm just going to kind of sweep through with my thumb and then do the pluck with my index and middle and ring finger on the G, B, and E strings. So first chord is A sus2, which is just an A, but without that third, so open B string. And then your second chord is going to be that A sus2, except you're muting the A string and then adding an E string. So it's an A sus2 / E, like without that low A. And then you got a D7, open position. And an F9 to a D/E, which I guess you can just kind of, I don't know, lay your index finger across if you want, but I do it this way. Then back to the A sus2. Like I said, you're going to be hearing this a lot. Then that A sus2 / E again. And then we're going to take that A sus2 and then make the D string open, which I don't even know what to call it. I looked it up and I saw D6 sus2, which I guess we'll just roll with that. I don't know. So like that. So the only thing you're fretting is the second fret of the G string. And then back to the A sus2. So then you do this walk down to this F sharp minor 7. I don't even know what you call it when you have the B and E strings open. I'll have it written down in the chord chart below. And then a B7, D7, and then and kind of open position G7, which maybe people already know how to do that, but I don't play this thing very often, but it's a 3rd fret, low E string, muted A string, open, 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 and then 1st fret, high E string. And then A sus2 again. Open to open. And then this time you're going to do that A sus2 / E, but you're going to let the A string ring out, so you're not muting anything. then we got this this F sharp minor 7 flat 13, I guess. And that, again, that's just what I saw when I put it into like a chord generator thing. It's got that suspension there. To a certain voicing of A/C sharp. I mean, you could do it like this. So, but I think it sounds better when you do it like this, where it's fourth, and you have those open strings there. So. And then here you got just a series of minor 7 chords that kind of start walking up. And I mean, the easiest, at least for me, way to do it is to do it here, starting on the low E string. But I feel like that's a little bit too warm. And personally, I think it sounds more accurate if you do it kind of with sort of this kind of open D shape, and then you add the root note on the bottom, which is hard for me to fret. I mean, I have kind of small hands. But so I do it starting on the A string instead of the E string. So B minor 7, and then C sharp minor 7, and then a D minor 7, all with no 5. That you don't have you don't have that 5 there. You're taking that away, and you're muting that D string, which again you could also do on the E string without the 5. So yeah, B, C sharp, D, and then they hit the D minor 7 a couple times, but this time I hear the 5, so you can add that in if you want to be extra accurate. And then big old G13. And then you got your A sus2 slash E, muted A string. And then the D6 sus2, A sus2, and then ba-da-dum, and then that brings you back to the beginning. Da-da. And that's it. That's it. And if you want to play along to this, you can check out my cover. You can play along to that because it's just got the chords, and or you can just play along to the song somewhere on YouTube. I don't know, but whatever you want to do. So now we're going to go through the rhythm part. But take it a little bit more slowly, dig into a little bit more of the minutia. Again, I'm going to take it a bit slower, especially for some of the lower level guitarists if they're trying to pick this up. So again, if this isn't your speed, so to speak, you can just stick to the chords, or I don't know, put this on fast forward if you want 1.5 times speed. I don't know. Yeah, in case you didn't see the second section, the overview of the chords. As a general rule, I'm going to be using my fingers because it just, you need that warmth, but you also need to be able to do the plucking if you want to do it just right. I mean, you don't have to. If you just want to play the chords, I mean, you can certainly just... You can just pick them if you want, but if you want to be, super accurate, got to do the fingers. And what I do, and I think it's what the guitarist in the song is doing, that's kind of what I'm hearing anyway, is using your thumb to sort of sweep across most of the chords like this, and then kind of plucking with your index and middle and ring finger, mostly on the G, B, and E strings. So, and also doing a little bit of root note plucking with your thumb. So yeah, that's generally the technique. It's not too complicated. I feel like people who, at least for me, when I first started picking up acoustic guitar, that was one of the more natural ways to pluck things, was to just do that thing. So anyway, now that I've laid that down, we can start getting into the chords themselves and the rhythm part. So you're going to start with an A sus2, which is it's an open A chord. You're just your typical open A major, except I'm playing it with my third and ring and pinky finger, as opposed to, say, my index and middle and ring finger. You're going to want this index finger free for later, because there are going to be some chords you want to play. You're going to do this F sharp minor thing later, so you're going to want to do your A like this. But yeah, we're doing an open B string, so it's So you're just removing your pinky finger, so now it's just your middle and ring finger for A sus2. And then you're doing the pluck. So it's really slowly. So that's your first chord. And then what you're going to do is you're going to move your middle finger over a little bit, keep it fretted, but move it over so it mutes the A string. And so we're going to play an A sus2 / E. So it's that A sus chord, but with the muted A string and also with the addition of the E string. So. If you have another way you want to mute that A string, you can. Maybe you can lay your index finger on top or something, but for me it's easier to just kind of shift my middle finger over a little bit. And this time there's the pluck, but there's no thumb at the end, so it's. So that's the second chord. Your third chord is going to be a D7, which is starting on the D string, and then 2nd fret G string, 1st fret B string, 2nd fret E string. So start the sweep on the D string. Then you got to jump up to a 9 chord, which is a bit weird if you're not used to it. It starts on an A string, so your middle finger is doing the 8th fret of the A string, and then your index finger is doing the 7th fret of the D string, and then you've got your ring finger doing the 8th fret of the G string, and your pinky doing the 8th fret of the B string. And you want to be sure that you're muting the E string because you don't want that ringing out. So kind of make sure your pinky is muting that E string. And then we got this D / E, which is it's a D bar chord on the A string, so like this. Except then you are moving that D up to an E. So it's really just all of your fingers are on that 7th fret. You can do it with your index finger across if you want to. But I feel like it's, for me at least, it's easier to go from this from the 9 to this, just using all my fingers like that. So really quick, let's run through that so far. We'll take it slowly. A sus2, pluck, and then A sus2 / E, and then D7, pluck, and then your F9, which you can kind of sweep or you can pluck, whatever you want to do. Sometimes it depends on my mood. I'll pluck it this time. And then D / E, and then give it a little strum, kind of a powerful finger strum thing there. That's sort of the first section. So the second section is going to be the A sus2 again. And then this time you're going to do a little finger picking thing. So it's you do the sweep, then you do the pluck. But then you're going to take your thumb and hit the D string, and you're going to hit the G string with your index finger, and then you're going to hit the high E string with your ring finger. So all together it's like, but if we slow it down, sweep, pluck, and then sweep, pluck, finger pick. And then another kind of strum. And then that A sus2 / E, again, with the muted A string. So. Sweep and pluck. Last time I did the A sus2 / E, I didn't do anything with my thumb after doing the sweep. But this time I'm going to do a little pluck of the D string. So I don't actually know if that's in the original song, but that's how I did it in my cover. So And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that A sus2 and then we're going to lift up our middle finger. So now all we're fretting is the 2nd fret of the G string. So this is going to be a D6 sus2. So we're just going to start on the D string and be a really open kind of sound, kind of pretty. And as usual, we're going to do the sweep, pluck. For most of the other chords, you're doing a ba-ba-da-da with that plucking thing. For that D6 sus2, you're just doing a ba-da-da at the very end. You hear what I'm saying? So like when you do the A sus2, you do the ba-da, da, ba-da-da, and then with the same thing with the A sus2 / E, ba-da, ba-ba-da, and then this time, ba-da, wait, ba-da-da, ba-da. So I don't know why that one is different. You don't have to do it that way. Again, if you just want to be super duper accurate, that's how they do it in the song, in the song of the game. So a little bit slower. A sus2, A sus2 / E, D6 sus2, A sus2. So we start with this walk down, which you're picking with your thumb. It's open E string, 5th fret, E string, 4th fret, 2nd fret. Ba-bum. And then when you do that 2nd fret, you're actually doing this F sharp minor 7 kind of thing. I don't actually know what it's called when you have the B and E string open. I probably should look that up, but it'll be in the chord chart. But it's an F sharp minor 7, and it's 2nd fret of the E string, muted A string with your index finger kind of muting it, moving over. 2nd fret D string, 2nd fret G string, and then open B, open E. So again, you got this walk down, bum, 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 and then this F sharp minor 7. Except this time you are doing the sweep and pluck, sweep, pluck, ba-da. Except this time, instead of doing the usual additional plucking afterwards, usually you do the. Instead of doing that, you are just individually picking the G, B, and E strings. So sweep, pluck, and then wait, and then ba-da-da, and then a little strum. So ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da. So again, walk down. Ba-da, ba-da-da. Then you've got a B7, which is kind of like that F9 shape that we did before, except it's on the 2nd fret of the A string. So you've got 2nd fret A string, 1st fret D string, 2nd fret G string, 2nd fret E string, open B string, actually rather. So 2, 1, 2, open, 2, sweep and pluck. This one's usual. It's just like it usually is. And then we have a D7, which we've already done. D7, sweep and pluck, usual. And then we have an open position G7, which you use your ring finger to hit that 3rd fret E string. And while it's doing that, it's also muting the A string, because we don't want that A string ringing out. Or if you want, you can use your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. But I prefer to have that A string muted. So 3rd fret E string, muted A string, open D, open G, open B, and then on the high E, you have your index finger doing 1st fret. So 3, mute, open, 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 1. And this time for the G7, instead of doing the sweep and pluck, for both the G7 and the A sus2 that we're going to return to, we're going to just pluck that 3rd fret E with our thumb, and also pluck the top 3 strings with our fingers. So ba-da-da, 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 and same thing when we come back to this A sus2. Ba-da. So the G7 has the sweep and pluck, but the G7 ba-da-da, ba-da. So let's go through that 3rd section again. Start with the walk down. Open E, 5th fret E, 4th fret E, and then that F minor 7, and that sweep and pluck, but then we do the individual picking, and then the strum. So, and then B7, sweep and pluck, D7, sweep and pluck, and then the individual plucking, G7, A sus2. Now on to the 4th section, which gets a little bit weirder. We start with just picking with our thumb on the E string, open 2, and then open A. Bum, bum, bum. And for this, you should still kind of have that A sus2 kind of ringing out. Bum, bum, bum. Now we're doing an A sus2 / E, but unlike before where we mute the A string, we actually want that A string to be open. We want this to be a big, loud A sus2 / E, so it's open, open E, open A, 2nd fret D, 2nd fret G, open B, open E. Big and loud, big sweep. This is another one where we're not plucking. You just do a thumb sweep, and then individual picking, da-da-da, and you do that twice. Da-da-da, and then again, da-da-da. And now we're doing this F sharp minor 7, flat 13. Don't ask why I know that and not the other one, but it's got this, it's that chord from before, but we're adding our pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. So you got this sort of suspension thing here. And for this F sharp minor 7, flat 13, you're not doing a sweep. You're doing individual picking like with the G7. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. And now we have an A / C sharp, which is an A, but then you have a C sharp as the lowest note. So one way you can do it is doing kind of an A shape and then adding your C sharp on the 4th fret of the A string. But how I do it, and how I'm pretty sure they do it in the song, is a bit weirder. You have the 4th fret A string, reach with your pinky to the 7th fret D string, ring finger 6th fret G string, and then open B, open E. It's really pretty. I really like how that sounds. And I'm pretty sure that's how they do it. And then for this chord, we're going to kind of pluck it all at once. Just thumb on the A string, index finger on the D string, middle finger on the G string, ring finger on the B string. Or you could do a sweep if you want, if you really want to hear that B. You can ba-da, ba-da-da, ba. That's also pretty. And then a little strum. So let's take that back, because the next part is going to be, at least for me, is a little bit difficult jumping to the next chord. So we'll take it back to this little thumb pick thing. Da da da. Big open chord. Individual picking. Da da da. Da da da. F sharp minor 7, flat 13, with the plucking. Ba ba ba. A / C sharp, and then a strum. And now we're doing a series of minor 7 chords, which you can do a couple different ways. The easiest, at least for me, because you want these minor 7 chords to not have a 5. Often what you'll do with a minor 7 chord is something like this. So it's like doing a bar minor chord, say for a B, where it's 2nd fret, 4th, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. Bar chord shape, except you remove the pinky. But for these chords, you don't want the 5. At least I don't hear a 5 when I listen to the song. So there are two ways to do it. The easiest for me is to do a 7th fret E string, and then mute the A string, and then 7th fret D string, 7th fret G string, 7th fret B string. So there's your B minor 7. Then you have a C sharp minor 7. And then a D minor 7. So 7th fret for B minor 7, 9th fret for C sharp minor 7, and then 10th fret for D minor 7. Now, that's the easiest way to do it, but again, me trying to be super accurate, or whatever I'm doing, that sounds too warm as far as the tone, as far as the tone of like the strings, because I'm playing on lower strings, it sounds too warm. And I feel like in the song it's a little bit brighter, so you want to take that same chord but do it starting on the A string instead of starting on the E string, which is way harder for me to fret because I have kind of small hands. but I just feel like it's more accurate. So it's sort of a D shape for this B minor. It's sort of this D with the 2nd fret G string, 3rd fret B string, 2nd fret E string, except you need to be able to then reach over with your index finger and hit the 2nd fret A string. So it's 2nd fret A string, and then you're muting the D string, and then 2nd fret G string, 3rd fret B string, 2nd fret E string. And so there's your B minor 7. That's a bit brighter there than there. You can hear the difference. That's way more kind of muted in tone, I guess, or warmer, or whatever you want to call it. It's not as punchy. It's not as bright. And then here, playing on the higher strings, it's way brighter. And maybe you don't want that, but that's more what I'm hearing from the song. So you do that. There's your B, again, starting on the 2nd fret, B minor 7, then 4th fret, that same shape, moving up to the 4th fret for your C sharp minor 7, and then up to the 5th fret for your D minor 7. And this is just thumb sweeping. Ba, ba, ba. Or if you really want, you can do a full-on like finger strum thing. But I'm hearing a thumb sweep. And then da da da. And this time I do some thumbs down strumming. Da, 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 da. Except, again, for the sake of being super accurate, I'm pretty sure I hear the 5 this time. So you can do that bar chord shape and then remove the pinky. I don't know why I hear the 5 there, but not in the other chords walking up. But that's just what I hear. So if you care about being super accurate down to the note and down to the string, you can do this weird D-shape thing. And then when it does the series of D minor 7s, you can switch to the sort of bar chord thing. And then we end this whole 4th section with a big G13, dominant 13, which is, to me, kind of one of the Godfather jazz chords. I feel like that's a chord you add to just make instant jazz. And those who don't know, it's for the G13, you've got 3rd fret E string, mute the A string, and then your middle finger is doing 3rd fret D string, your ring finger is doing 4th fret G string, and your pinky finger is doing 5th fret B string, and muted high E. And do a big old finger strum. So that's the end of the 4th section. So that's a lot. Let's rewind it back and do that whole thing again. So again, it starts with, so you start with the thumb thing, bum, 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 open to open, and then the big A sus2/E, everything is open, nothing's muted, and then picking those top strings twice, and then the F minor 7 flat 13, doing the individual plucking, da, da, and then doing all the plucking on the A/C sharp. Do that one more time. Ba, ba, bum. And then strum. And then the minor 7s, however you want to do them. And for this one, you want to do a strum, and you want to do some picking on top as well. You can hear I'm kind of struggling to fret this because my hands, my little baby hands, have a hard time with this chord. B minor 7, and then C sharp minor 7, and then D minor 7, and then some more strumming of that D minor 7. You can add the 5 now if you want. Ba, 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 ba. And then G13. So that's the 4th section. That's the hardest and the weirdest by far. But the good news is we're in the home stretch. The last section, the 5th section, is just those sus2 chords again, nice and easy. Just doing some usual sweeping and plucking. A sus2, sweep and pluck. A sus2/E with the muted A string. And this time you can pluck the E string, which I haven't done the rest of the time. I don't hear it in the song except in this section. I don't know why, but A sus2/E. D6 sus2, and then wait, and then pluck, and then A sus2, sweep and pluck, and then we're doing that same little thumb pick thing. Ba, ba, ba. E open, E2, A open, bum bum bum. So that section is almost the same as the second section. So A sus2, sweep and pluck. A sus2 / E, sweep and pluck. D6 sus2, sweep and pluck, except wait on that extra pluck. A sus2. And then bum bum bum. And then that brings you back to the beginning. So we can let's take it all the way back. I'll go slowly and we'll go through everything. And then that'll be it for the rhythm section. So again, bringing it back at the very beginning of the first section, you start with that A sus2, sweep and pluck, A sus2 / E, muted A string, sweep and pluck, except don't pluck with your thumb. This time. D7, sweep and pluck, and then F9, D / E, strum, A sus2, and then pick the D, G, and E strings, and then strum, and then A sus2 / E. And now when you do this pluck, you can use your thumb on the D string. For whatever reason, the thumb doesn't pluck the E until the very end. I don't know why. And then D6 sus2, and then wait, and then pluck, and then A sus2, and then we have the walk down, open E, 5, 4, and then we have that B minor 7, and then picking G, B, E on top, and then strum, and then B7, sweep and pluck, D7, sweep and pluck, G7, plucking individually, pluck thumb, pluck fingers, pluck twice with fingers, pluck thumb, pluck fingers, and then A sus2, plucking thumb, and then pluck fingers. And then bum bum bum, and then big A sus2 / E, nothing muted, and then pick the top strings twice, and then F minor 7, flat 13, individual plucking, ba-da-da, and then A / C sharp, and then strum, and then B minor 7, no 5, if you want to be super accurate, and then pick top strings, C sharp minor 7, D minor 7, and then strum on that a bit, down strum, and then G13, and then A sus2, sweep and pluck, A sus2 / E, muted A, sweep and pluck, and this time you can pluck the E string, D6 sus2, sweep and pluck, except wait, and then A sus2, and then ba ba ba, and that's it, and then the song repeats. Da-da. And that's it. That's the whole song. I know it's crazy. I hope this made sense. I'm kind of all over the place because there's a lot that I was trying to cover in here. I hope you got anything out of it. If it worked for you, then let me know. If you still have questions, then put them in the comments. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I'm not a professional guitar teacher by any means. That is probably obvious at this point. But hopefully some of this made some sense to you. So let's move on to the lead. So the lead part is fairly simple. You can do it with a pick. I do. I mean, if you think the pick is too sharp of a sound, if you want some more warmth, you can use your thumb or a softer pick or something. But I just do a pick. I think it sounds just fine. And there are two positions you can do this in. I think sliding into the 11th fret D string sounds better and more accurate than sliding into the 6th fret G string. I think it sounds a little too sharp and a little too shrill. I think the warmth doing it up here fits the song a little bit better. So we start with 9th fret D string, and we're sliding from 9 to 11, and then we're hitting 9th fret G string. So slide 9 to 11, and then 9th fret G string, and then we're doing a hammer-on from the 9th fret G string to the 11th fret G string, and then we're all hitting that 9 again. So... and then we're doing another hammer-on And now we're jumping to 7th fret D string. And then we're doing 10th fret D string, 9th fret D string, 7th fret D string, 7th fret D string again. Pretty simple. And give it a little vibrato. I don't know, I do. And then you wait, because the whole second section there's no lead part. And then we do that same thing again, slide from 9 to 11 on D string, 9 on the G, and then we do it again, 9 to 11 on D string, and now we hit the 7th fret D string. So da 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 da. And now we're sliding, not hammering on, sliding from 9th fret to 11th fret G string, da, and then 7th fret D string, da, ba. And then da 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 da. 10th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret, D string again. So we'll take that part again. Da da da. Da da da. Da. You can do a little extra pluck of that 7th fret if you want. Give it a little character. And now we're in the 4th section. So you got 9 on the D string. And then you do a couple of octaves. So you've got the 7th fret D string and the 10th fret B string. And then you jump up to 11th fret D string and 14th fret B string. Ooh, my intonation's not great. And then back. So 7 to 11 and then back to 7. Take that shape. So and then you stay on that 7th fret D string, and then 6th fret G string, and then 5th fret B string. And then 7th fret B string. And you kind of walk up 5, 7, 9, and then now you sort of slide down from 10 to 6. And then you do this little trill from 5 to 6 to 5. So hammer on, pull off. And then 7th fret G string. So let's take that again. So you start with the 9 on the D string, and then you've got the octaves with the 7, starting with the 7, up to the 11, back to the 7. And then you have this 7th fret D, 6th fret G, 5th fret B, 7th fret B, 5, 7, 9, 10. 10 slides down to 6. Hammer on, pull off. 7th fret G. And then that's it. So let's do that part again a little bit faster. Da 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 da, and that's it. So then we'll do. So let's do it. Not quite up to speed. A little bit slower, but just going all the way through. You're just waiting. I mean, don't play this if you're playing lead, but just filling up space. And then and that's it. So that's it. I hope this was useful for you. Obviously, I'm not a professional guitar instructor. I'm sorry if I was a little all over the place, especially in the third section. Like I said, I had a lot I was trying to cover, and I wasn't sure the best way to organize it. So if you still have questions after all this, please leave those in the comments below, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. If you have any constructive feedback on how I can improve these lessons, please also leave those in the comments, because I want to keep making tutorials like this, especially for songs like this that don't have a tutorial. So, I want to keep getting better with this as I go. If you did like the video, please hit like, maybe subscribe to my channel. I do anime and video game covers all the time, acoustic and full band. I have a Twitch account where I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. I think that's about it. I've got social media accounts down below if you want to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Kid Yuki. You've been awesome. And until next time, keep anime rockin'.